Housing affordability is a serious problem in Australia.
We need to come at it from a number of different angles, and if we don't, we risk the future of young Australians and our financial system as a whole.
We're suffering a real intergenerational inequity in our housing markets. We're seeing people considering becoming lifetime renters simply because they cannot afford the deposit. In a recent Nine Newspapers poll, 60% of voters said young people in their area will never be able to buy their first homes. It does appear to be so out of reach. Younger generations are putting more emphasis on things like lifestyle because they feel as though they're not getting any closer to realising their dream.
To buy a house in one of Australia's capital cities, or even around Australia's capitals, you need one of two things. You either need a really, really well-paid job, or be able to tap into the bank of mum and dad.
Over the last year, median house prices have soared by 24% in Sydney and 16.2% in Melbourne. The average house in Melbourne is now over $1 million, and in Sydney it's $1.4 million. If you're looking to buy in Darwin, you're looking at a price tag 23% higher than a year ago. Hobart has gone up 21% and Canberra is up 20%. And just before you say, just look further out, regional house prices have rocketed too. In regional Tasmania and regional New South Wales, they're up nearly 23%. There's also been a decline in supply. Data from realestate.com.au shows the number of listed properties has fallen in capital cities up to 27% in those cities that have been in lockdown this year. If we zoom out, we're right at the top in the global charts. Sydney and Melbourne are always in the top 10 most expensive cities in the world when you look at housing prices and compare it to the average income.
But the problems don't stop there. For young people lucky enough to actually get a home loan, their level of debt is normally extremely high.
We hear a lot that it's just as hard to buy a property now as it was for our parents. But that's actually not the case. 30 to 40 years ago, the house price to income ratio was sitting at about 3.5. That means it took 3.5 times a yearly salary to buy a house.
But let's think about that today. If we think about the median salary of $52,000, and that doesn't take into account the multimillionaires, that means the price to income ratio is 1 to 18. In Sydney, it's 1 to 27. Over the next few videos, we're going to be looking at some of those key terms that come up when we read about the housing crisis. If we're not in any rush to buy a house, we might as well understand the problem.